Okay, so what we did was I sent them your first video. So I don't know if Megan's paused or not, but anyway, I wanted y'all to be able to ask questions from that video or any questions you've had that's popped up. So let me, who's that right there? Yeah, she's popping back on. Okay. Hopefully, no, I think she's paused again. Technology is lovely, isn't it?
I'll send you the link of how I did that with that other person so we can do Facebook Live too.
Well, I know we've tried that before, but
I think it's just you and me because we seem to have issues every time we go on.
oh, okay, there's Megan. Okay. Okay. So anyway, hi there. All right. So any questions you had, Megan, we'll let you start. Did you want to make sure you watched did you watch the video with Janine? Okay.
Yeah, I did. I think both my hips are pretty loose. I can get both of them down real easy.
Good.
And I have a little tightness in my back when I did the soft stretch on my back. So there's a little tightness there, and I'll do that side stretch that you talked about.
Okay. Yeah, that's supposed to help your back. The one where
She
you
also has scoliosis.
Megan does? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So is it a large curve or a slight curve or, did they give you a degree of how curved you are? Oh, did it pause?
Yeah. There we go. There she is. Nope.
Just pause. I don't know. When it pauses, I think you can still hear the other people. It's just that. So she probably
we have the recording for her. So she tries to not rib flare, and she gets her ribs in and down. I know she is worried because one kind of sticks out more from the scoliosis. We've talked about that. So I don't know if you can even talk into that as well.
Yeah, that's a great question. Here, let me show you this new thing that I've been doing using a belt. And maybe you already do this, Olivia, but let me grab a belt. Hold on. So you could use a belt or a,
So she's showing you something, Megan, about like with your popping out because of the scoliosis. So we're just keeping going, and then it'll be recorded. So
if you take a strap or a belt and you put it around your lower ribs, do you do this, Olivia, with them?
Yeah, we do certain things, but you always add in certain wording that is different. So help with her scoliosis.
Yes. So thoracic mobility is really key because if you're tight in through the rib cage or the thoracic area or the diaphragm, then your core can't do what it's supposed to do. So if you do some deep breaths into the belt, so you crisscross the belt or you put a towel, I just don't have a long enough towel. So when you inhale, you want to think of like a 360-degree rib cage expansion. And then when you exhale, just gently pull the belt towards you.
Mm-hmm.
So do you go over that with them?
Mm-hmm.
That's a really good thing for diastasis too. So yeah, that's one thing. And then the other thing for thoracic rotation, I mean, those muscles that line the back that are really tight, you have to get some rotation in there. And if you're stuck on one side, even with a scoliosis, you can still make some progress. So I don't think I showed this in the video. So what you do, this might be in another video, but then again, here's my pelvic model. We can use that if we need it. So you go on your side and put a pillow between your knees just so that you lock out your lumbar. And what you're going to do is you're going to rotate backwards. And then you're going to go back to the midline. So you start in midline, you inhale, and then you exhale to come back. Now, if you bulge, you can't go too far. Then you have to cross your arms and do it this way. Okay, so that's the modification of it. But if you can do it without like opening up your diastasis, then that's a good thing to do for thoracic rotation. So, and then the other thing you could do is just sitting. You can try to rotate, but you have to lock out your back. So you kind of have to sit with your legs apart, and you rotate towards the rotation, like where you're stuck. So this is another way you could check which way you're stuck with rotation. So you sit with your arms crossed, you turn, come back to the middle, and turn. Oh my gosh, I'm really stuck today. I really need these exercises too. So what I would do is I'm stuck going this way. So what you'd want to do is go towards the stuck side and repeat it 10 times.
Okay.
And while you're doing it, you might get a little tug on your back, but that could actually free it up with the gun. And then you go back and you recheck one direction, and then you recheck the other way. So then you should be a little bit more even. So the key is symmetry with movement, not so much in the skeleton, you know. So even if your skeleton isn't symmetrical, your movement should be. So does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, and that helps with, that's good even with scoliosis. So I know she was a little concerned about having scoliosis and it, you know, hindering the healing of her core.
You have a rib bump, like where your skeleton is actually altered? Like how big is your scoliosis, Megan?
I can't remember how many degrees the chiropractor said it was, but my left rib is constantly, like my left rib cage is kind of like, instead of this way in the front, it's like this.
Okay.
So it's hard when I lay down to try to get in alignment because I can't get my back of my left ribs to touch the ground.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it's kind of like I'm sort of like this.
Yeah.
I twist kind of toward the right.
Okay.
I can't remember how many degrees he said. I'm going tomorrow and I'll ask him again. So
yeah, I mean, if it's not something that you've had or even noticed, like some people don't even notice they have one, and if that's the case, then they're looking at it with such like fine-tooth comb, you know, like they're looking at in each level and more detailed. But again, movement is the key. So if you're stuck in one direction, that could be a problem. So did you notice that it was turn one way or the other?
Stuck on my left.
To turn the left, yeah.
And I tend to get stuck on my left, you know, during the day. I feel the tightness in my left side. So
do you ever like go under your diaphragm and just release your diaphragm with your hand?
No, I've never tried that.
Yeah, so you should be able to stick your hands like underneath your rib cage. And get in there. It doesn't feel great if it's tight, and you're going to notice that one side might hurt more, and it's not always the same side. Like your right side may be a problem. You know, like for me, I damaged my left rib lifting like somebody who had a stroke when I was doing home care years ago. This is before I even knew I was pregnant. And I was pregnant and I popped my rib. So I have a little bit of an asymmetry myself. And when I was pregnant, I had like, they call it costochondritis, but it was very painful. You know, as my ribs were expanding, this was getting pulled. So that, I still have tenderness there, but I'm still able to get my core working just because I've worked on my mobility.
I still have a lot of under the rib pain.
Yeah. Yeah, I still, like, it hurts if I dig in there, but, you know, you can release that by putting your hand in there. Like, you kind of have to do, like, a little hook with your hand. Or put lotion on and just kind of go like this along your rib cage, like that. And you could do that laying down on your back. But it's really key that you get the rib cage to come down. You know, if it's rotated a little bit, that's not going to be as big of a factor as having the flare. You know, you don't want your rib cage up here. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you can have a healthy core with scoliosis.
Oh, good. Good.
Okay. Do you have other questions, Megan?
A few. I feel like I have a lot of upper abdominal pain, like kind of a stinging, pulling in the upper abs, like right under my sternum down a little bit. And it feels really weak right there and out to the sides. And I was wondering, is that a different muscle, or is that all transverse abdominal, or?
No, the transverse abdominis is lower. That's rectus abdominis. So rectus abdominis runs the length from the sternum down to the pubic bone, and that's the muscle that's separated with the diastasis. But you could have trigger points along the whole thing. So if you start at your sternum, just like midline, you don't want to be in the middle, but like to the left or the right of it, just feel. And you'll know because one will be stinging or a little bit tender. Like I have a spot right there that I would just hold on that spot. And think about it, if that muscle's in a spasm, it'll go like, it'll bow more because it'll tug, you know? So you don't want spasms in your muscle. And those muscles I call the second string team, you know, so your deep core, your inner core is your first string team. You want those muscles working for you because that's what holds your back together and your pelvis and keeps your organs lifted and keeps the urine in and all that. But if you have these trigger points in your rectus abdominis, those could also, like, they're overworked, so they could inhibit the core if you don't get those out. So you could do just pressure points, hold for like a minute. If you're on the left side of your abdomen, be careful if you find your finger thumping like a heartbeat. Muscles can put a heartbeat when they're releasing, but if it's like a big thump, then you're on your aorta, and you don't want to be on your aorta. So get off of that because you can make yourself pass out. So, but other than that, yeah, that would not be a good thing. So, and some people will feel like when they lay on their stomach, they have their heartbeat feels like I know for me, I don't have a lot. My aorta is very close to the surface, so I'll feel sometimes like a thump, 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 and I have to get off my stomach if I feel that too much because I can make myself pass out. So when you're mobilizing your abdominal wall, that's really the only thing you have to be concerned about, and it's usually on the left side of the abdomen. So if your trigger points, you know, if you're on them and you feel something and you just feel like it's tender and tight, you're okay. Like you can press on them.
Okay, so that burning, stinging it's usually after I exercise or after I've carried the baby or engaged or something. Yeah. And it just kind of feels worn out and sore.
You're using that muscle instead of your transverse probably. So you're using your second string team to hold you together because your brain hasn't gotten the message yet. You know, think of the brain as a coach. So the coach has to know that the team or that player is ready to come back in the game. So if the brain doesn't have that figured out yet, and it's not automatic, you're going to, the coach is still going to use the second string team to hold you together. But the goal is to get the transverse abdominis to hold you together, but it's not inherent. You know, it has to be retrained.
Okay.
And that comes with time, but that'll get better. But in the meantime, I would, you know, do some trigger point release. You could do it sitting or lying down. Lying down sometimes a little bit more comfortable. And then you can do your breath work.
Hold on. Okay.
What's that?
That sounds good.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so anything that's tender is game. You know, it's like working on your shoulder. If something hurts, you just hold pressure on it.
Okay.
So those are good questions. Do you have any issues with like urinary urgency or leaking or anything like that?
No, I feel like I have a really tight pelvic floor.
Okay. And
I have found it's hard to get that to release.
Most people have a tight pelvic floor, not a weak pelvic floor. So to get the muscles to tighten, you know, there are parallel fibers of the muscles, and you have to get them to contract, but they won't contract if they're already contracted. So yeah, learning how to get that breath into the pelvic floor You know, when you expand your rib cage and you're breathing in, your pelvic floor is opening up like an umbrella. You know, so just have that imagery that like you're breathing into your belly, but you're breathing into your pelvic floor too. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I will do that. I've been thinking of all manner of all kinds of things, and I think it's starting to work. It's going to take a while for me to get that.
Right.
Because I think I've always had a tight pelvic floor.
Yeah, most people do, and especially when there's been falls injuries or like a vaginal birth. But even a C-section could do that too. And considering you have time, your time is limited. You're running your household while you're trying to heal, you know. So that's if all you had to do was yourself, then it would be a lot quicker.
Yeah. If we just didn't have the kids running around, we could heal faster.
Stick to this.
But we have to. We
can't
ignore them. That's the reason we had them.
Yeah. They're the best, though.
Yes.
Yes.
One other thing was I have really bad depth. My depth is really deep.
Okay.
So, and it's mostly above my belly button where I notice it the most. Is there anything specific I can be doing to try to get that connective tissue to, you know, start thickening back up again besides the exercises?
Yeah, I would use the belt, you know, when you're doing that. And you do want to stress that linea elbow a little bit to get it to thicken, you know, so sometimes you can do something like, hold on, let me grab my belt again. If you're using the belt, what you could do is if you engage your abs and you're sitting, as long as you're guiding them and telling them to go in the middle, you can sit in a chair and blow out and slightly lean back. So it's more like a reverse going backwards, you know. So what I'm doing is I'm going this way. I'm going back. So as I'm breathing out, I'm pulling this tighter. And that'll stress it a little bit, which is what you need, but you'll stress it with the muscles closing, not separating.
Okay.
And the big thing is rib. What's that?
I should sit up then after that?
Yeah,
it's like doing a little sit up?
Yeah, here, I gotta do it on in a side angle because I don't think you can comprehend or like fully understand what I'm doing. So hold on a second. Oops.
Okay.
Okay, so if I'm sitting, so you want to be sitting straight, preferably with your feet on the ground. I'm sitting on a high table right now, so I don't have my feet on the ground, but cross the belt like this, and then exhale the whole time you're going back, like the whole time you're moving your body. So you're exhaling when you go this way and on the way back up. So that way you're not like holding your breath and straightening. So it's like that. Does that make sense?
Yes, and while I'm exhaling, I'm engaging my TVA?
Yes.
Okay.
If you're practicing exercises, that will become more automatic. But if you are not doing the exercises, like, you know, it'll be harder because then now you're adding a little bit more resistance.
Okay.
So you're adding gravity.
How come you stretch it, Janine?
I'm sorry, what?
How come you're wanting to stretch it like that? I missed that.
Oh, you're not stretching it, you're engaging it. So it's kind of like.
Okay, I thought you said something about stretching it.
No, oh no, what I meant, or what I think I said was you want the linea alba to be stressed.
Stressed. Like, okay, yeah. Okay. Now that makes a little more. Okay.
Yeah, you're putting tension on it to kind of get those collagen fibers to respond and pull back together. But the rib cage is the key. You know, if your rib cage is out, then once you go too far, they can't come back together.
Okay. Gotcha.
And
Yeah.
these are fairly new concepts. I mean, like I know years ago I didn't teach people that. We told everybody no setups, no crunches, you know. And the thing is, I still say that until your gap is closed, you can't do any of that. But life is, you know, you got to get up from laying on your back. You have to get up. You want to train that muscle to be able to do the things that you want it to do. So you got to put load on it in a controlled manner. So
Yeah.
but
Okay.
that's a little bit different than what we used to teach people about this. It's evolving. I mean, and now we're saying the gap isn't as important as it is the fact that the core is compiled. What you'll notice is as you do this, the gap will lessen. You know, so that's a symptom or a side effect of doing the exercises. But the gap itself, like your goal is not to close the gap just for closing the gap's sake. You're closing the gap to improve your function of your core. So, and I'm sure Olivia used those same words or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was wondering, good morning, Amanda. Do you have questions? How are you?
No, I'm all right. Yeah. It's a rough
Good.
morning here. It's barely 7 o'clock, so
Yeah.
my kids are loud and obnoxious.
Oh, wow.
Amanda has 7 kids, right? 7?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me, I just gotta fix my volume. Y'all can keep talking.
Yeah, so Amanda, it sounds like you have some morning congestion. So
Oh, we just got over an awful cold that took like 2 weeks. And then the end of the week, the baby had a double ear infection and like 4 sleepless nights. So it's been rough.
Oh, golly.
one of the things that we do here is we do local honey, like raw honey, like just we take it in tablespoons. That helps. And I do a recipe that's like lemon juice and honey, and you put it on the stove, and then it's cough syrup. You know, so it's natural cough syrup. So you want
we use honey for a cough syrup.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
So, but when you cough, you're stressing your pelvic floor. You're putting pressure down. So you know, just maybe try to like pull up, like do a Kegel when you.
Yeah, I've heard somebody said to do this, like even look up, and it like helps everything go up when you go cough like this, with your head up.
Yeah, when you cough or sneeze, you don't want to go achoo, because when you do that, your pelvic floor goes on a slack. But if you go this way and you cough, then you're going to tense your pelvic floor. So maybe when you do that, Olivia, they're getting into some extension, so it makes the pelvic floor taut. Yeah.
How interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Well, it's just like, do what, Janine?
It's such a simple thing. Like they'll come in and they're doing great, and they'll say the only thing is when I cough or sneeze when I'm in a standing position, I'll do it bending back, and then they come back and tell me, well, I don't leak anymore. So.
Well, and it's the same thing as like our jaws. People with TMJ can have pelvic floor issues, right? Pelvic floor dysfunction. Like our jaws, if we open our jaws, release our jaws, a lot of times that our pelvic floor will release.
Yep.
So
anything like if you're feeling clenched, you're gonna want to. You can do a trigger point right on that spot too. So you just hold pressure on it.
That's a huge trigger point of mine because I do actually have TMJ by chiropractor, and I've tried working on it quite a bit. It's pretty. And I remember you were talking about that, like, because if you're having a bathroom to release the jaw, because they're all connected.
Right. All the oral sphincter, the esophageal sphincter, the rectal sphincter, they're all connected. So like when you poop, for example, so when you have a bowel movement, if you open your mouth like that, then your rectal sphincter will open, and then you're not trying to push out something that's contracted. So, you know, a lot of people that will have prolapse or where they feel like they're pushing their organs out, if they strain, if they open their mouth, it's so much easier to go to the bathroom. It's like the squatty potty, you know, leaning forward you want your pelvic muscles to be relaxed when you go to the bathroom. So.
Yeah, and like when you have babies.
Yeah.
You know,
you're in labor, you're supposed to go, yeah.
Open your jaw.
That's the last thing you feel like doing when you're in contraction, you know, you're like,
Megan, do you deal with TMJ?
Do I?
I grind my teeth at night.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering.
So I have to wear a night guard. I should anyway. I lost it, but I have actually ground enough enamel off that the dentist he gave me a guard to wear. So.
Yeah, so even if you have it on one side, both sides need to be addressed because one side's probably pulling on the other. So it's just the space between this bone and the jaw, like right in your cheek.
Okay.
If it hurts, that can help. You can also tap it.
Wow.
And then when I had my TMJ at the worst, I actually put my finger in my mouth and went straight back along my molars, and there's a muscle in there that also causes us to clench. So you can do a trigger point, you know, straight back. I don't have a glove on right now as I do it, but I either do it in the shower when my hands clean, or I do it, put a glove on, and I just go straight back. It hurts.
It's behind.
What's that?
It's behind something? Behind what?
Is it behind your teeth?
Yeah, it's like along your molars inside, so you're kind of going straight back like that. Inside your mouth.
Okay, I found it. I found it with my tongue.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's straight back. It's usually tender, and you hold it as long as you can, and try to open your mouth as you do it.
Okay.
So you'll learn from Janine, pressure points are huge. So, I mean, the rectus abdominis, what she was talking about, even releasing diaphragm. I don't really deal, I don't think, with that. But Janine, when I did that, it was sore.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so
if it's sore, you probably release it.
Does this help with the TMJ?
Mm-hmm.
Just the relief, just the pressure point.
Yeah, but you know, there's a lot of factors. You know, shoulders are tense, so you got to do trigger points up here. I mean, I do dry needling, and that helps my patients. But that's just one tool. That's one way to do it. You can use a ball and sock and rub your upper back. There's a lot of ways to do this. But as you get better and as you heal, you won't have to chase after those things. You know, so. I know for years, that's all I was doing was like going up against the wall with a ball and put my hand, like I haven't done this thing in my mouth in a long, long time because I haven't needed to. So you do it until you're healed. And then if you want to make sure your shoulder blades are strong, you know, so any kind of like rowing straight back or bent over rows, any of the exercises that put your shoulder blades back instead of up, you know, you want to avoid this, bring your shoulders down. But you know, this is where stress takes place, and then we end up with tightness up here. So,
yeah.
But there's
that's
other.
Really,
what's that?
I was gonna say, just this whole body issue, right? We're learning all. We're just connected.
Connected. So, yeah, those are great questions. I mean, we are learning more and more. I mean, I had a person a few weeks ago come in with a tooth abscess, and she was doing fine with her pelvic floor. And she had a tummy tuck after, you know, large babies, and you know, she's been fine for years. Her kids are like in their 20s, but then she got a tooth abscess, and that caused her to have some pelvic floor and hip issues. So and the reason we were able to identify it is she came in one day and had Novocaine, and the Novocaine up here. She goes, well, I don't have any pelvic floor pain right now. My hip feels great. So because of what she was doing here, she clamped down below. So, you know, it's just really interesting. Like I always ask my pelvic floor patients now, do you have jaw tension? Are you grinding? Are you a clencher, you know? Because your pelvic floor is listening to what your jaw, and this is the one thing you can control. Like if you can't control your pelvic floor, at least you can control your jaw a little bit more until you get that muscle, you know, working right. So. But yeah, I'm still learning from my patients how connected we are, you know. It's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Aren't the clients just the best teachers ever?
Yep. They give me ideas always to describe it. That first string, second string thing, I got that from a patient. So.
Yeah, I know. They'll ask me questions and I have to sit there and think about it. And I'm like, let's try this. And let's try this. Let's try this. And then you find what works and it blows me away.
Women are extremely intuitive, you know,
Mm-hmm.
so you got to go with your gut if you feel something's not right, you know, but healing is always possible, you know, regardless of how long it's been. You know, I had neck and headache issues for years since I was a kid, and most days I'm pain-free now, so I never would have thought that that was possible. So your core can heal too.
Yeah. So every Wednesday, Janine has clients at 10:30 her time, so 9:30 our time. So we'll do this from 8:50. And then the next week we'll do it on Tuesday. Is that what you want to do? So that way we can hit different time zones. Tuesday at lunchtime, is that right?
Yeah, we could do like 12:45 my time, or let's see, what other time can I do? If that's too late, I can do 12 o'clock my time. Wait a minute, you guys are behind me, not ahead of me. So, yeah, if I do 12:45, that's 11:45.
Okay, if you do 12:45, what?
My time.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We can go to 1:30.
Let's do that. So let's do 12:45 your time on Tuesdays. So we'll alternate weeks. Let's do Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Tuesday, and I'll just keep a calendar of this, and I'll post in the Facebook Messenger. I put everybody in the Messenger together just to kind of help say, okay, here we are. Some people's emails go to spam or something, and I'll post in the group, also the Facebook group, to remind y'all that that's what we're doing. So I'll hit you in 2 different places so you know.
Okay.
But before you have clients, I just want to make sure if they have any questions or anything like that.
Anything else?
No, just the reminders have been good again, because I was really the car accident put me in a really bad, I guess almost like a depression. So it was really hard to get out of it, because I felt like I worked. It was really, really hard to get back and to feel all the pain after not having pain again. So I finally had to just snap out of it and get in the right headspace and let's just do it again. But my gap is still only 232. So my gap has actually gotten better without doing anything.
Awesome. Okay. So I'm looking forward to seeing after this 8 weeks.
Me too. And after this weight comes back off, because depression and eating is not.
Right. I know. So 12:45. So that's 11:45 for me and Megan. Megan's just how far are you from me, Megan? 30 minutes? Oh, wait a minute.
Pampa.
What? Sorry. Yes, you're in Pampa. So did we say 30?
About an hour.
Okay. Oh, an hour. Yeah, you're an hour.
Yeah.
And then you are an hour behind us, right, Amanda?
Yeah, for now.
Okay.
When you guys change, I think will be the same.
So you're going to do 12:45 to 1:30 your time.
We don't have daylight savings. So when everybody else changes, we don't.
That's always confusing.
It's so hard for us. We're wait, what? Are we an hour closer? Are we the same? Where are we at? Are we further? Actually, we might be 2 hours off.
Time, and if you do Eastern Standard Time, I think then that'll be fine. So whatever Eastern Standard Time is for me, then that'll be super good for you guys.
Megan, I was just going to tell you that, I like to give people homework. So, if you're getting stuck at your left, turn like Janine said and do that. Would you say 10 times, Janine?
Yeah.
Okay. And then do the band, like she said, try it like this just a little bit. That'll be good. And I want y'all to try to work on releasing pressure points in the jaws. I'm going to try to. I want to see what next week, if it feels any different for y'all, because that's interesting. And because since you are dealing with the tight pelvic floor, see if that possibly helps that is just one. Okay. I think that's awesome.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Are y'all good?
Yeah.
If you guys have questions, just put them in the Facebook group.
And I will put this recording in the, how would y'all rather have these? You want it in the Facebook group or you want it different? Or the Facebook Messenger? I'll figure it out. I'll do it in an easy way for everybody.
Doesn't matter to me, so.
Okay. Well, thanks, Janine, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.
Okay.
Bye.